Welcome to the InTalksicated Podcast, a weekly comedy talk show that dives into the personal lives of comedians, experts, and creators. I'm your host, Sarah McClellan, a very amateur stand-up comedian and self-proclaimed sad girl. It's the comedy podcast with a lot of heart. Feel hard and talk hard. This is the InTalksicated Podcast.
All right, let's do this shit.
Yay!
I can't believe that this is finally happening.
No, I'm so excited.
Because, I feel like this is the podcast that I feel like I've been thinking of having you on for a solid year. It feels like I've always known who you were and always really liked your presence online and shit. And here you are. And we've hung out a couple times, so I feel very special.
Yeah. I think that I first found out about Intoxicated through Ruth's podcast because she came on with you.
Yes, she did.
So that's how I knew who you were. And then when I started becoming friends with Vanessa and Vanessa was friends with you, it just made sense that we'd go drinking together.
And we did, and it was absolutely amazing and wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, I am so excited to welcome this week's guest. She is an amazing content creator, but so many other things that we're gonna learn about today.
Yay.
Please welcome Chelsea Rose.
Hi.
And you look like a rose
I know.
today.
I got all pink and dolled up for you.
It's truly so fabulous. How do you figure out what wig to wear on what day?
This is the first time I've actually worn this one out, so you get to see it first.
Yes.
It kind of depends on what look I'm going for. I've got a short brown one, and then I've got a couple of long blonde ones and a long brown one. So honestly, the reason I end up wearing them is because I don't want to do my own hair.
Yeah. Such a good point, because it is such an ordeal, especially when you have long hair.
Well, I have short hair and I find that actually harder to style.
Is it?
Yeah. Because it trying to wrap tiny pieces in the back of your head around a curling iron without burning you yourself. Yeah. And you can't pin it up. You can pin half of it up. So I miss the long hair. I'm growing it out now. I miss being able to just chuck it in a ponytail and a bun, put a beanie over top of it, and it doesn't look like I'm recovering from chemo.
Right.
Yeah.
I like long hair.
Yeah, me too. I regret cutting it short, but I was like, if I didn't cut it short, I was going to be thinking about it while growing out my hair the whole time. It's going to be like, should I have cut it short one more time? Should I not have? So now...
that's the most Aries move I've ever heard of.
And
just dive the fuck in, bitch.
Now I never have to wonder. Now I will be like, remember that time you wanted to cut your hair short? Let's not do that again. Let's not. I told my girlfriend, if ever the words come out of my mouth, I think I want to cut my hair, slap me.
So we're going to get into the first segment, the assumption segment. So here we go. One of my assumptions about you was that you have a natural fashion sense.
Oh.
And the reason that I say that is me and Vanessa were actually talking about you today. All great things. But I was just like, Chelsea's one of those girls, you just always look cool. Doesn't matter what it fucking is. If you look comfy, if you glam up, you look like it's put together and it's effortless but put together, if that makes sense.
Oh, thank you. That's
admirable.
I feel like people are like, oh, it looks like she just threw that outfit together, but really I probably tried 6 or 7 different outfits, and there's a huge pile in my floor, and I have way too much clothes that one person does not need.
But it's always those girls that I see that I go, I bet you they thrift shop, because every time I see a really cool outfit, it's I found this at Value Village, and I'm just every time I go, I don't find these cool things. I don't get it.
I know.
What am I doing wrong?
Usually, I feel the same way though too. Especially with TikTok now, there's so many thrifters on TikTok, and they'll be like, I'm gonna do my thrifter haul. Look at these Steve Maddens that I found, and look at this cool two-tone denim wash pants, and I'm like, Where are you getting those? Because most of the time, some of the thrift resellers online or some boutiques, it's that's why Frenchies is my sweet spot, because other places resell resell old denim or whatever for what you would buy this a new pair right now. I get it because they're vintage, they've got a little bit more zhuzh to them, a little more want for them, but I can't afford that. I can't afford to spend that much money on clothes.
I love that about you, that you were just like, yeah, I'm on a budget. And this is what it is. Yeah. And you can be very fashionable on a budget. You just have to do it right.
I mean, like, I will buy a few pieces that are more expensive if I know that they're quality, that they're going to last. And I'm trying to only do that with like basic wear. Because this was what I did. And the reason it's so funny that you say that is because I was going to do a TikTok video rating my old outfits from like high school and stuff. So literally I just went through the photos today and I'm looking at all these old pictures of my outfits. And you're like, yeah, you always like look like you have great fashion sense. I'm like, oh girl.
It was not
always good. The only reason it looks good now is because I went through years of editing.
Funny you say that because I just started posting throwback pictures of myself too. And like, I go, it doesn't look good now, but at the time it did.
I don't even know.
So that's all that matters.
I don't even know if at the time it did for me. Like, I'm looking at them. I'm like, was that fashionable then? I don't think so. And I went to a small town high school, graduating class of like 65 people.
Oh, wow.
So most of them all wore just American Eagle and Hollister and stuff. And I think in my last couple years, like graduating, I was focusing more on school than like what I was wearing. But like in grade 9 and 10, where like you can get good grades pretty easily. Yeah. Like I would show up to school in a cocktail dress with like tights and heels and like my hair and makeup full ass done. And people would be like, what is going on here? Like,
who are you?
This is bio 10. Like, why do you look like you're like a 21-year-old?
You're going to theater class.
Yeah, not even theater class. Why do you look like you're trying to sneak into a club right now? Like,
that's so funny.
So there's years of editing.
Well, but you're a fashionista.
Yeah, I think I've always loved fashion since I was young. And like, I one time tried, like, I sewed my own dress, but like, not with a sewing machine. I like hand sewed that shit. I did that once. But just like out of random fabric that like my mom had at the house. And yeah, so I've always loved it, but it's not something that like I think I could ever make a career out of. It's just like I find some things that you love when you try to make a career out of it, you start not loving it anymore. So like I feel like just like dressing is like a way to express myself.
It's something fun.
Yeah, and it's also a way to like I find like it has changed so much with me so much over like stages of my life. And like when I first came out as a lesbian, the amount of like mask lesbian outfits I was like trying to pull off.
Oh, yes.
And then I went back to kind of like amalgamating some of the other things that I liked, but now I kind of sometimes switch like my like gender fluid style of like sometimes going more masculine, sometimes more feminine, sometimes a mixture of both. So
chameleon, just whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever I feel, whatever I feel good in. Yeah.
I love that about you. This is from my producer Sarah. Are you a Swiftie?
A Taylor Swift fan?
Yeah. I don't know why she thought this. I was like, what?
I don't know why she thought that either. I like some of the songs.
But you're not a Swiftie.
But no, like I don't follow. Like if you told me one of her songs right now, I wouldn't be able to tell you like which album it came out on or what year. Right. But maybe I could probably sing like 75% of it word for word.
Oh, interesting.
I like some of the songs for sure. And I grew up, I feel like when like I don't know how old she is.
31.
Okay, so she was like getting popular while I was in high school and going through some stages. So like the breakup songs and stuff that you like sang. And so she was on the radio when I was in high school. So like, yeah, she was like popular then. I kind of liked her, but never a Swiftie.
But you're not someone who hates her or like.
No, I like some of her music.
Right.
Yeah.
But not a Swiftie, okay.
No, I don't think I have any of her songs saved on Spotify. But if it came on the radio, I would probably be able to sing it. You know what I mean?
You'd be able to jam out.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna get like these kind of more superficial ones over with. Do you have a good data plan?
I do have a good data plan, yeah. Yeah, I sometimes go over it. I don't know how, but I have 30 gigs and then it switches into unlimited. I know.
Holy shit. But you want to know what? But like, I'm just as bad.
I just kept going over. Bad. So I would like constantly call them and be like, okay, what's the next plan price? Like how much? I'm like, okay, I see that you guys are advertising. I saw a bus go by and it said 20 gigs for this much, like bump me up. And like I've switched to TELUS. And I find that they're the best that I've been with in terms of like service and like upgrading you and stuff like that. So
I was originally with TELUS and now I'm with Kudo.
I was originally with Bellis, then I did Eastlink. Bellis.
It's Telus and Belle's love child.
I was originally with Belle, then Eastlink.
Yeah.
Then my job has a corporate plan, so I switched to Telus so I'd get a better deal. But even without the corporate plan, like I think they've got the better deals.
Interesting.
Not the better self-service. Sometimes the self-service is not the greatest, but their plan's the best.
I think deals. That's what matters. I think more. Okay, and on that subject, I think this is my assumption about you, that you have a healthy relationship with social media, and what I mean by that is you're not someone who. Okay, hot tea, guys. I hung out with TikTokers for a night, and I shit you not, they were never not filming. Everything was filmed, and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I walked away going, wow.
Yeah.
Were any of us present
Yeah.
in the moment of hanging out?
Yeah.
And when I've been with you, you might take a picture.
Yeah.
And then you're done. Then
Yeah.
you're like, you're here, you're bond. Like, so I feel like you have a healthy relationship with that, which is good if you're an influencer. Like, it's a good thing to have that healthy boundaries.
Yeah, I
with
feel
social media.
like maybe when I first started out, I didn't. Like, I was constantly like making sure I had at least one post up a day, and I was constantly taking pictures and constantly like recording stuff. And then I would say like now I definitely do have a more healthy relationship. I think that back then when I was first getting started, I was like obsessed with like how many people are viewing, how many followers am I getting, how many likes am I getting, blah, 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 blah. And I feel like sometimes the people who do influencing or content creating as a job have to be a little bit like they have to have new content. They have to constantly be checking the
It's
analytics
like the name of the job.
and the stuff. Yeah. But if it's not your job, which it's not my job, it's just a hobby for me. Sometimes I make money or get free stuff off of it, but it's not my main source of income. So for me, people, it's so funny, even with dating and when people would find out that I like did content or stuff, people would be like, oh my God, I bet you like always have your phone on you. I bet you can't go a day without your phone. Like, oh, like blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And when I'm out or when I'm with people, like I don't like to look at my phone if I can not. Like I liked it to be away.
Can attest.
Yeah. I
I've
mean,
hung out with you and
yeah.
you're very present.
Yeah.
You're good. Like you converse with people. Like I think that's so important. And it's just those boundaries are like, because otherwise you'd go insane. Your whole life would be
around it. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I do like to, like stamp a pic here and there, or if I think I can create content, I will. But like, I don't make it like the number one thing that I have to be doing. Like, and usually if I'm going to make content, I try to sometimes either get it out of the way before I meet up with people. So before I came here, because I looked cute, I made a couple TikToks, saved them in my phone. They're ready for me to post another night. Right. Like I don't have to post them tonight or like at the beginning. So if like we were together with a group of friends, like let's take a couple pictures. Oh, take a couple of cute boomerangs of our drinks. And then again, it goes away and we continue on with our night. Usually if the only time I'll have it out consistently is if like with my girlfriend, because we're long distance, we like to capture our moments together and create content together so that while we're apart, we have something to look on and reminds us of each other. Yeah. Or like if I'm getting paid or it's a content like a collaboration that I like, maybe me, you and Vanessa go out for dinner one night and like I'm getting the dinner gifted to us, like then I kind of have to be on my phone because we're getting this for free, so I'm like taking pictures, posting it in real time, that sort of thing. But usually I'm like, sorry guys, like I just gotta be on my phone for a second, and then I'll like put it away after.
But you put it away.
Yeah,
that's the key.
Yeah,
you're not glued to it. Would you are you someone, do you think you're addicted to social media?
No, definitely.
A lot of people are.
No, I would say I was at one point, but not anymore. Throughout like COVID and stuff like that. And right before COVID started, I was living in Liverpool for the first year of my job that I'm in now. And like I would have nothing to do on the evenings because it was like I was out in Liverpool, and in the summertime, you can go for a hike, you can go to the beach. But in the wintertime, like you're not going to drive all the way to the city for one night and then there's nothing to do in Liverpool. No offense, Liverpool. Yeah. But so that's how I got started on TikTok, is because that's when the app kind of first came out, and I would just make content on my own in the evenings. So like during that period of time when I was starting to like get some followers on it, like I would be on it in my free time, but just because I had nothing else to do. So now I actually find I have to space out and make time to make content. Like I have to be like, okay, like this evening, this week, I'm going to like do my makeup and like record some content or like go take some Instagram pictures. Like I have to schedule it in because honestly, I'll forget about it. I'll be like, oh shit, I haven't posted a bunch.
You're living your life. You got a fucking job that's separate from influencing, by the way, you guys. So that's a myth I want to bust right away.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a stigma on
I don't post
the term
about
influencer.
I just don't post about like my job on my social media. So people just assume that like that's what I do is content creating, but that's not what I do.
That's not what she does.
No.
You have a very important job. But like, I feel like a lot of times people stigmatize influencers because they don't see the human side of them.
Yeah.
And so like with you, what I love about you is, well, number one, you're not constantly posting. It's not a brand deal every fucking day. So you'll see them every now and then. And the ones you have are awesome, by the way.
I definitely like pick. I don't accept all of them. I like what's the word? I like vet each one.
Vet them, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like a sexual partner.
Yeah.
Yes. Number two, and also just stunning pictures. That aside, you're very real on there. So like I've seen a couple really like vulnerable posts, whether it's talking about mental health or sexuality or even like the very ugly side of the internet. So the dealing with awful comments, and like you've posted screenshots of terrible shit people have said to you. And I think that is so important to do because again, it's going to show I'm a human. And guess what? You can hurt my feelings too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also people are garbage.
Yeah. People on the internet, like they can hide behind an anonymous screen and they don't really like take into account or necessarily care how you feel on the opposite side of things.
No.
So yeah, like when I first started my Instagram, that was when like influencing was kind of first getting big on Instagram. Like YouTube had been a thing for a minute. But like I think I was a little young for YouTube. I feel like YouTube kind of blossomed like maybe I would say probably around your age category.
Yeah.
And then Instagram and Facebook were coming up in like my high school and university years. So then you were seeing the like influencers, and I had like a serving job at the time, and they were like, oh, this lady's coming in. Her whole meal is comped, blah, blah, blah. I thought like maybe she was friends with the owners, but she was like, oh no, I do like food influencing on Instagram. And I was like, oh, cool. Give me your handle. Like I'll follow you afterwards so I can see the photos. And then I looked and she had like around the same amount of followers that I had. I had at the time, I was like working in like the bar scene and nightclub. So and I was going to like a big university. So I had about, I want to say close to 3,000 followers at the time. And I was like, you can get free shit just for posting pictures. You can get a free dinner and cocktail. What? And I was like, I can take a nice picture. So literally, yes, my Instagram started out very selfishly, very for like one reason, just to get free stuff. But then through it, I became more vulnerable, and I didn't want, like at first I was trying to be that like blonde, tan, like fashion influencing, like LA influencer. But then like social media actually gave me the ability to be vulnerable, to be more real, to be more open about things I've gone through. And I kind of like found myself while being on social media.
Wow.
So, and I wanted to be relatable. I liked that, you know, like Halifax is a small city and you can go out to dinner and see someone that I might not necessarily like, say Vanessa had never introduced us. We could be out at a bar one time and I'd be like, oh my God, I know you from social media. This is so cool. How great to connect. I've done that a couple times with people. Totally. So I like that, like people could literally just like see me on the street and be like, hey, what's up? How's it going? Like you're not just some random like person from LA with 200,000 followers that I'm never going to actually like see or relate to. So yeah, I wanted to be relatable.
But what's the other side of that? So the other side of that I always think about too is the dangers of that. So like when you are dealing with really hateful people.
Mhm.
I had an Instagram stalker in the summer of 2020, and it was very scary, and I had to call the cops.
Yeah.
And I at the time I was starting comedy, so my name was on show posters, public locations, and I just thought to myself, this guy could show up with a gun and shoot me.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had like when I first started kind of getting more serious about it and I was doing more like content and collabs, I had my email and phone number because like as a business, you could have your email and phone number, and I was getting some random calls from people. So I immediately took my phone number down. And then like I had a bad breakup with an ex once, and they created multiple like fake accounts to keep messaging me.
There it is. Yeah.
And then, I luckily haven't had anything like too crazy scary. I'm always pretty careful about like if I go somewhere and I'm posting about it, I'm like either like with somebody or I posted about it after I've already left that place.
It's a great tip.
So it can be scary. You got to be careful on it.
You got to be careful because that accessibility is so nice, but it's also like if you reach a certain level, it could get scary. You never know.
Yeah.
Don't get too famous.
I'll try not to.
Okay, what one do I want to tackle next? I have here that I think, and this is again a little bit biased because I'm good friends with one of your good friends.
Yeah.
I think you're a top tier, above and beyond friend. You're someone who goes above and beyond for your friends. Is that true?
I feel like I can be. I feel like I do. But I feel like also like every person can get like self-involved with their own life, get a little selfish, and like kind of forget to check in on friends or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that over the years, I definitely used to be. I definitely used to be the person who was always doing things for other friends, or like always the person reaching out being like, hey, let's hang out. Hey, let's hang out. But I mean, as you get older, you kind of like realize who your true friends are. So the people that were giving me that same energy back is kind of the people that I've like stuck with. Nothing against those other people. I would gladly, if they called me up one day and was like, hey, let's go get a beer, I would gladly go get a beer with them. But I'm not going to like, I had a friend that like through probably COVID, like I hadn't really seen much of. And I was constantly like, let's get together once things opened up. And I would sometimes get oh yeah, for sure. Or sometimes I would just not get answered. And I felt really shitty. And then like one time for their birthday, I like dropped them off a birthday gift and like, and then I just realized I was like, why am I doing this? Like this person hasn't made any effort for me in a year. And it's hard to let go of those friendships because sometimes they're long friendships and you really love that person and you for me, that person was like somebody that I was like, oh, like I've always had great times with you. I think you're such a cool person, and it's hard to let go of those friendships, but like it just kept hurting me. I just kept getting disappointed and feeling like there's something wrong with like, why don't you want to hang out with me? So like now I've kind of got to the point where I'm just going to put that energy into the people who put that same energy into me.
Ding that bell. That's such a good, but I think that's late 20s for you.
Yeah.
I do feel like that starts in your late 20s.
Mid to late 20s.
Mid to late 20s. And even into your 30s, it gets worse. Hey guys, guess what? It gets fucking worse.
Yeah.
Because once you're in your 30s, you're dealing with people getting families and then never connecting with you, or people moving away. Like it gets harder. It's hard.
In like your early 20s, you're like trying to be friends with everyone, especially if you go to like secondary education and whatnot. And in high school, you're like forced to be friends with those people because of proximity and limitations. And then kind of same a little bit with university.
Yeah.
You sort of start to branch out a little bit more. And then once you start to go into your careers, then you become friends with those people just because you found each other through the same job.
Yeah.
And then slowly, like, of those people, the ones from high school, the ones from university, the ones from shared activities, the ones from your job, different jobs, because you'll probably switch jobs. Slowly it'll trickle out so that like the ones that are like meaningful will stay, and the ones that aren't really meaningful might still be there. They might fade away.
They might fade, and you might be like on good terms with them,
and
but
like,
they're not quite. Yeah,
you change over that time period too. So maybe you still love one of those people, but you just don't have the same interests anymore. You're in two different worlds.
That's such a thing. The changing thing. If you're not down for the new versions of people.
Yeah.
Or the more,
and that's okay.
The better
sometimes.
versions of people, I think too. Like,
yeah. And that's okay. Sometimes like, there, again, like I have a friend who, is very, like, I feel like I'm a little kooky. I'm a little, you know, like I wear wigs and I, like I'm queer and I've got like some, like I do a lot of social media content. And then I have this other friend who's like very studious, like has their life plan. Like me and my person are going to get married here and we're going to do this. And, and like a while back, I like went to a party just before COVID and I was like, I feel like the odd man out here. Like I just can't connect with anybody here right now. And that's okay. Still love that person, would happily go get a drink with that person. But
you got to find your tribe.
Exactly. And like, and you sometimes just don't connect on the same level as you used to.
It is so true. Are you someone, do you have like a kind of a core friend group? Or I'm someone who truly like, I don't have a group. I have friends in so many different pockets.
Yeah.
And it was strange because for so long I was just like, I feel like that group community is what I need and what I want, but it's not what I got.
I feel the same exact way. I feel like sometimes you see those like those like 4 friends who always hang out together or something like that, or that like girl group or whatever. And I like wanted that so bad. And then even like a best friend, and I mean like a wholehearted best friend, like a sister or a brother, ride or die for you. Like I've been blessed to have a couple different ones through high school. I had one, and we went to university together. And when we went to university together, that's when you kind of just started to see a little bit of a shift change. And now they live in Calgary, and we're in 2 different lives. I still love them. I still consider them one of my best friends. I could call them up any day if I needed to, but we're not as close. So like that shift kind of happened when we were in university, and then they moved away. And then kind of had a male best friend for a while, and I was going through some stuff, and that person helped me a lot go through some stuff. But then again, our lives kind of shifted a little bit. They got a family now, and they don't like live in close proximity. So it's not like, hey, let's just go grab a beer or whatever. And then I had a best friend through work for about a year, and they moved away. And then I've kind of shuffled through best friends.
Yeah.
So, and that can be hard because you see what other people have and you kind of want that. But then at the same time, I feel like I got to be happy that I've had so many like wonderful people that I've connected with on different times in different stages of their lives.
You see it as a good thing.
Yeah, I do. I can't, like, I find as someone with depression, I can't dwell on it as a negative, because if I sit there and I dwell on it, it's just going to make me feel worse. So I'm like, I have to look on, I force myself to look on the positive side of things. And then when I do that, I actually see the positive side, and I'm like, oh yeah, that actually, because actually up until just right now when I said that to you, like I feel so lucky that I've been with those people in those stages of their lives. Right? That phrase right there, that's the first time I've ever said that.
Oh,
so like that was
intoxicated epiphany, I call it.
Yes,
I love capturing epiphanies on this podcast. Yeah. It's interesting, like as you talk through things, you start to realize things. And, that's such a beautiful way to look at it. I think more people should look at it that way, forcing yourself to think positive. I'm such a realist, and I do consider myself more of a pessimist than an optimist, but it's weird. I think you can be positive but also a pessimist, if that makes any sense. It's a really weird thing.
Absolutely. Well, I got it was like one of the best pieces of advice from my brother, who's 7 years older than me, while I was in high school going through like a heartbreak or whatever. And he was like, sometimes like you have to force yourself to like go out and be with your friends, to listen to happy music, to do the things that you would normally do when you're happy, even when you don't feel happy, because then eventually slowly like those things will actually start to make you start like feeling happy again. And I feel like I've kind of taken that in all aspects of my life, just like I have to force myself to see the positive side of things, because then I will actually start to like make it a habit where I look on the positive side of things.
Also, gratitude, baby. It's fucking, there's a reason why it's a journal prompt. Yeah. You know, like I think forcing yourself to see your friends who are ultimately a really good support system in your life. Putting on, like tonight we said that we both glammed up a bit. Yeah. Even though we haven't in a while, because it makes us feel better. Yeah. That's I always have to explain to people why I wear makeup every day.
Yeah.
And number one, it's really meditative for me.
Yeah.
It's one of the only times in the day that I'm actually like chill
And focused
I'm
on
like,
yourself.
I need to focus on this wing liner. That's all that matters right now.
Yeah.
Is this winged liner and whether or not I get it sharp enough to cut a bitch.
And then if you do, you're like, yes. The
Right?
serotonin just like seeps into your skin. But then you're like, fuck, I got to do it on the other side now.
Yeah, right? And then you get, So it's like a really meditative, but it's also like something like I just feel better with it.
Yeah.
There's a great Lady Gaga story where she talks about when her dad was in heart surgery.
Okay.
She showed up at his bedside, like no hair done, no makeup, just kind of like disheveled because she was going through it.
Yeah.
And her dad woke up and said, "What are you doing? You don't even look like you."
Wow.
Because she wasn't done up.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things like doing yourself up doesn't have to be a bad thing.
No.
Like in her case, it is more who she is.
Yeah.
Like her dad even said, "Go put a wig on."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you don't look like you. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
On that subject though, my last assumption, and actually this wasn't even mine.
Yep.
Because I know this is true. But Sarah said this, that you're a very confident person. Let's dive into that. Yay or nay?
Both. I would say both. There are times where I am very not confident and times where I am very confident. I think that in the last, I don't know, I can't remember when I got diagnosed, but I think it was in I think it's been about a year that I was diagnosed with ADHD. And
welcome ADHD bitches up in here. Scatterbrains, but very creative and awesome.
Took my Ritalin before I did my makeup. That's why it looks so good. I was on point for you tonight.
You were able to hyper focus.
I'm going to be focused on this. So I didn't realize like one of the things is like growing up as kids is like females with ADHD, not all, but a lot of them tend to mask. And so I masked my social awkwardness, my overthinking with being outgoing, being confident, being friendly, being chatty.
Chatty's a big thing.
Too chatty or like not being focused or just being like all over the place. But so then as I got older, I kind of started to recognize this like social awkwardness I had about myself sometimes in situations. And I did a talk once for a while there. There was like a Halifax social network going on and I gave like a talk once and I said like I feel awkward all the time. Like nobody ever like picks up on it, but I feel awkward in every interaction, whether it's like a chill interaction with one of my best friends, like doing something with my family, like going on a first date. Like I constantly feel awkward and it's like a hamster wheel in my head of like, am I saying the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Blah, 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 blah. But sometimes I'm able to just be like, ignore the hamster wheel for a second. Like you fucking feel great tonight. Like, you know, this outfit looks good on you. And then like, so yes and no. Sometimes I feel confident. Sometimes I don't.
Interesting. Because I attach confidence so much to self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think people see confidence as I think I'm the shit and I'm perfect.
Yeah.
But in a weird way, I kind of think you just being able to say that just now, admitting your flaws or what you
insecurities,
that's confident. Being vulnerable on social media, confident. Not everyone fucking does that. And not everyone can like look into themselves and say, I struggled with this. Yeah. This is what's wrong with me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and so I feel like we gotta change the definition of confidence. Yeah. Because I feel like it's too much tied to like being cocky.
Yeah. Or just being like necessarily having like this like
or looking good.
Yeah, looking good is a big one. Like people think just because you like strut into a room and you're feeling yourself, like that person is confident. Yeah. But it's not necessarily true. They could be actually like super insecure and like super not okay with themselves or their self-image or whatever. It's just like they look in that moment confident to you, but that's just because you're attaching confidence with looks.
There's a lot of performance in life.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's the same, like when I do comedy, people always say, hey, I'm confident. I'm like, you have no idea how much I was sweating before going
how many
up.
times I practiced those jokes and like.
Yeah. So it's just a strange strange thing, but I think you're confident there because you're vulnerable and you're also hot. But like, you're not afraid. Like, I don't know. Just go follow Chelsea on Instagram, by the way. I don't know. I mean, my listeners don't have a lot of them. Please do.
I appreciate it.
Even if you get one new follower from my podcast, I will be happy about that.
I just enjoy the experience.
Oh, God love ya. Those were my assumptions. Okay. So I think we did pretty good.
Yeah, we did.
And we're kind of fired up now. So I want to get to the next one.
Yep.
Which is the rant.
Oh, yeah.
So we're gonna do rant now. You have the floor. What's bugging you lately? What's something that's grinding your gears, pissing you off?
I would say right now it's just most prevalent in my life is immigration and the ridiculousness about immigration and the ridiculousness around not having like the freedom to like pick up and just go to a new country. I understand like certain countries, like, you know, you want, you know, quality people coming in and helping stimulate the economy and blah, 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 blah. But they make it so fucking difficult. So for your listeners who don't necessarily know me, I have a partner who lives in the United States and I'm Canadian, and it is not fucking easy for either of us to go to the other to live. And that's why that's the prevalent topic for me is because and it's so frustrating because to me, right, like especially after COVID now, everyone is like, we got to stimulate our economy. We got to do this. We got to get more immigration. We got to get more youth. We got to get more educated people, blah, 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 tradespeople, yada, 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 yada. Like to me, if somebody is in, you know, their 20s and 30s, has an education, has a good history of having careers, having jobs, has the money to like be able to say like pick up and like maybe have 6 months worth of rent readily available, and has consistently shown like they can get a job, whether or not that job is a bartender, a server, an accountant, you know, a secretary. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
like that should be it.
Yeah,
for what you need, right?
That's
like
true.
To me, that should be it. No, like, you know, you don't have a criminal history. You've got some, you know, basic or some sort of education, and you can get a job.
Right. Yeah, should be.
And then it should be that easy. And then you can go there. And if, you know, maybe they do a review and if 3 months you haven't gotten a job and like you haven't been able to maintain like, I don't know, paying rent or whatever. All right, sorry, you got to go home.
Some monitoring. But
yeah, basically.
Give people a chance.
Yeah, but like just finding like visa processing and applications and like basically for either of us to go, like for me to go to the States or for her to come to Canada, like we would have to have like a certain type of job. And
really?
Yeah. So like within NAFTA, so Canada, the States, and Mexico, you can have there's a list called like the NAFTA professions. So if you like fall in that list, it's a lot easier for you to get a visa, get a job, get approved. So like some of those things are like doctor, like accountant, I guess like agricultural botanist, stuff like that. There's a lot of sciencey stuff, a lot of medical stuff. But like she works as a IT technician for Apple. And I am a paramedic. Paramedic's not one on there.
What?
No.
Hang on.
But I get it because paramedics have only been around, like that career has only been around for so long. And like even within Canada, like things are different by province. So same with in the States, things are different by state.
Really?
Nursing and doctor, like nursing and a physician, like that's a little bit more like something that is more easily translatable between countries. Versus like my standing as a paramedic here in Nova Scotia as a primary care paramedic, down there, I would be considered an EMT. I wouldn't even be considered a paramedic because their paramedics are our advanced care paramedics. Even though as a primary care paramedic, I actually do have some things I can do and some knowledge over an EMT. Like I'm not as classified to be a paramedic down there. So it's like a whole different level of certification and licensing and stuff. So yeah, not super easy. And with most of these, even if you did qualify for like their kind of work visas, most of them, you have to have the job offer first before you can even get the visa. How the fuck am I supposed to get a job in the States from Canada?
Yeah.
Like, and not a lot of them, like, not like you can't just go on like Indeed and find a job and apply.
Yeah.
They have to be willing to sponsor you.
Yeah.
So across the board for her or for me, it's insanely difficult.
1,000 hoops to jump through.
1,000 hoops to jump through, long wait times for visa processing and stuff like that. So I think that like today's world has just made it so restrictive on people being able to like, and that's why you see so many people like, it kind of seems like each country is kind of purposely like making it hard because they want you to stay. Like they don't want you to leave and go stimulate somebody else's economy.
Yeah.
They want you to get your education here,
stay here,
get a job here, stay here. That's why you have so many people who have never gone traveling until they retire at the 60s and then woohoo, they get to go see Florida. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know, but like there's tons of people I know, especially like who would, and there are programs out there for when you're in like university to do like exchange programs and stuff. But I'm sure there's other people who literally just go and get like an LPN, like a college like nursing style that can work in a nursing home. Who I bet you any money would happily go be a LPN at a nursing home in Ireland.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because that's not like listed as because you're not like an RN, like you don't, you know what I mean?
Interested to see this list.
Yeah. It's pretty insane to me that like we don't make it more readily available for young people who are qualified, who have education, who have the means to just, you know, go move around,
see different cultures,
live other places. There are like some work visas and some student visas, but unfortunately, Canada like qualifies for like I think 30 of those like working visas under the age of like 30 or 35 in some places. The US qualifies for 6, like 6 countries. Wow. Like everywhere just hates the States.
Wow.
So because like my thought process was like, hey, why don't we just like go get a work visa in some random country like Ireland or like New Zealand and go live there for a year together, work some job together, and like we'll figure it out during that year, like what we're gonna do. But like some of the like I said, as a Canadian, I've got like a list of like 30 countries I could go to. She's got a list of like 6, and Canada is in one of those 6. So really, she's got like 5.
Really?
Yeah. So.
God damn.
Yeah.
That is frustrating. Are you starting the process?
Yeah. So right now, originally we were going to try to get her to come here because my rent is super cheap. And we figured like you come up here, we'll split my rent and we'll save and pay off some debt during that time. And then eventually we'll go back to the States because I've been wanting to get out of Halifax for probably the last like 4 years. You
have been, yeah.
Yeah.
Last time we hung out, you were talking about when to get the fuck out.
I know. Like I've been here in Halifax since like I graduated high school since 18. So yeah,
You're ready for a change.
Yeah, I've been ready for a change.
I also feel like you're a traveler, right?
I love to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would love to live somewhere else. So originally the plan was that, but we thought hopefully she could get like just like a straight transfer from Apple down there to Apple up here. But it's not that simple. So I think now we're going to shift gears and the plan will just be, because I said, you know what is the point of you just coming up here if we're going to go back down there in a year's time anyways? So now we're going to like shift gears and like I'm going to most likely hopefully move down there within a year or 2.
Hate saying this because it does mean that you will be away from Halifax. But also if I ever go to New York, I'll have someone to visit.
Exactly.
New York's
fucking cool.
I haven't been to every city, but I feel like it's the best city on earth for a reason, or it's classified as one of the best cities on earth.
I feel like, so I hate Toronto.
Oh.
I'm not a Toronto person. Love Montreal. And like I have loved, I've kind of fallen out of love with Halifax. But I've also been to like London, love London. And I feel New York is one of those ones where it's like, it's got some history in it, but it's got the modern stuff. It's got like the outer boroughs like Brooklyn that are a little bit more like hipsterish, but you can actually like live there and still go into the city and enjoy the city. Subways are fucking so good. So good. But like I find Toronto is very like, I don't know, just like new, like officey, just like
congested.
And like New York is congested too, but like there's, I don't know, there's just more.
Listen, pizza.
There. Yeah.
That's one word.
$1 pizza.
And the best pizza you'll probably ever eat.
For $1 a slice.
I've been there twice and I truly can't wait to go back as a fully formed adult, like without my parents.
Also, I bet you would love to go down there for the comedy scene.
The comedy scene.
Oh my God. Well, we went to a comedy show when I was there.
You did? You saw Rosebud? I was so jealous.
I know. For like $14.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right?
Huge lineup. I mean, it like the ticket said you had to like buy like, I can't remember if it was like a drink or food. Right. Anyways, like some kind of purchase was required with your $14 ticket price. But like we saw a lineup of like 6 comedians and it was amazing. They were all funny.
Yeah.
I think there was only one that I didn't really love, but like hilarious. And there's just such a huge scene. Yeah, and that was just amazing. One comedy club.
Right. And that's the thing. That's why a lot of comedians go there. You know, I think typically they either go to Toronto, LA, or New York. Yeah. It's usually one of those.
I feel like LA would be hard.
Yeah, it's just not for me. I feel like New York has way more character.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's it's truly surreal to be there. It feels like another planet.
It does. Yeah. I feel like
it's so awesome.
And I don't necessarily think we'll like stay there forever. Like we might, you know, one day pick up and like go live in Seattle, San Francisco, like maybe Ireland, who knows? Like she loves to travel too. But I think for now we're just gonna focus on me getting there.
Yeah. One thing at a time. Yeah. My gosh. That's exciting though. New chapter for you.
Oh, I'm so excited. It's like those TikToks where you're like suddenly
skip to the good part.
Well, no, not even that. It's like when you suddenly realize you're in like a new season of your own life, surrounded by like new characters and a new plot line. Like I feel like that's been me over the last year.
Wow. That's transformational though. And I mean, you're in a very nice, healthy relationship. I gotta say, like the most recent couple picture that you posted where were you on like a wall thing? I remember seeing that
picture.
Oh my God. It was like my favorite one that you've done together so far. Cause I just thought it was so like, I don't know, way more.
Oh, I think we're like sitting and like kind of hugging each other. Yeah. We actually, we did that one for the clothes that we're wearing. Anna and Zach, they gifted us those clothes. So we like took some photos for them while she was here. And yeah, she's like, honestly, I'm like, sometimes I have to be like pinch myself because I can't believe the kind of relationship I have now because I've been through really shitty relationships and like I had an idea in my head of like what a good relationship looked like. And this is so much better.
Oh, wow.
Than like I ever imagined.
What makes it good?
She's just like I honestly, I think before I met her, I like thought, like I believed in, like, you know, like everyone's like, oh, like soulmates, twin flames, whatever. Like I like thought that I believed in it, but like, cause I hadn't felt it, I was questionable. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I would like to believe there are soulmates out there. You know, the little like pessimistic person in your head, you're just like, I don't know.
I'm not sure about that.
Like, and like I've seen my parents divorce. Like I've seen my brother go through his relationships. He's happily married now, but before that, and then I've seen, you know, like even my parents, I love them. No hate. I would not want your relationship. You know what I mean? Fair. And even other friends who are in happy relationships, I look at their relationship and I'm like, happy for you. I wouldn't want your relationship. I think about that
all the time.
So like even the version in my head where I had invented like, what do I think the best relationship would be for me? And you're kind of biasing it off of all these other ones that you're seeing, right? So you're like picking the pieces you like and you're like kind of creating what you think would be good for you. But it's not until you actually are in that relationship with that person that you're like, oh my God.
I can have nice things.
You're like, this is what this is like. It's kind of like if you only ever like lived in a prison cell, right? And you only ever thought people had prison cells. Some people had nicer prison cells than you, but that's all that you thought was out there was prison cells. Like, I'm striving for the nicest prison cell. But then you go to like a $10,000 a night suite and you're like, what?
I can have this?
You're like,
I deserve this?
This is real?
Yeah.
Like, this is, I didn't even know this existed.
Oh my God. That's
yeah.
wild.
Like, we never fight. We've had a couple of small tiffs, but we never fight. If we ever do have a tiff, we kind of like resolve it right then and there in the moment in
that's lovely.
Such a mature way.
Hell yeah.
Like, one time we had an argument and we resolved it so maturely. And afterwards I was like, is it weird that I love you more because we just went through that? Like,
your attachment styles match then probably. If you can argue good,
yeah,
or get through difficult conversations good, it's your attachments are probably lining up perfectly.
Yeah, we communicate so well. She's I forget that she's younger than me all the time. I feel like our emotional maturity levels match so well.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and we're constantly trying to kind of like keep like, you know, I find some couples get like really comfortable and like we have gotten comfortable, but we still try to like do the like special things and like surprise each other and keep the spark going. And like,
also you okay, so like long distance partnerships I talk a lot about on this podcast because I think they're what's the word, underrated in the sense that I think people underestimate them.
Yeah,
like in terms of if you talk to someone on the phone every day for months and months and months and months, you can really get to know someone. You can really fall in love with them on a whole other level than if you were, say, going on a date or two every week. Yeah. And it's just, it almost jumpstarts things.
It does.
In a strange way.
You kind of, because you can't connect physically, and because you can't have that in-person like chemistry, and because you're not focused on, you know, the date you're going on, the surroundings, how you look, the other things that kind of distract you, you're really just getting to know that person and whether or not you vibe and mesh well. And it's so funny because I was like always the person who was like, I could never do a long distance relationship. If I had a partner and they needed to move away for work and I had to stay here and we had to be long distance for like a year, that would be it. I would never be able to do a long distance relationship. And then I met her and I was like, okay,
yes, I can.
Yes, I can do this. Yeah. Like even just now, like we're literally going on 3 months apart. And like at the beginning of looking from the 3-month point forward, I was thinking, oh my God, like how am I going to do this? This is going to be so hard. Now we're like 9-8 days away from seeing each other and I'm like, oh my God, that wasn't hard at all. Right. She just makes everything so easy.
Well, because you've developed a routine and she's probably your, I call it the good night and good morning person.
Yeah, absolutely.
She bookends your day.
So she every morning that she wakes up, she actually sends me a Snapchat and it's always a video and it's always like, good morning. And then she's like half asleep and her voice is like 7 notches lower. So I was like, good morning. I can't imitate her voice. I wish I could, but I can't. But she's like, good morning, baby. I miss you so much. I hope you had a good sleep. I had a dream about you last night. I love you.
Oh,
and then
that's
like,
cute.
so, and it doesn't matter if I wake up first or she wakes up, like every morning she always sends that to me.
Good night, good morning person.
Yeah.
It's truly the best thing ever. And
it
I
is
think
really nice.
It's a very special, dynamic and if you can make that work, the in-person aspect of the relationship, you have it to look forward to, people.
Exactly.
And that's the fun shit.
And that's what we keep telling ourselves is like, sure, this isn't ideal, this isn't great, but like one day we're gonna look back and this is a blink of an eye.
Right.
Like we're gonna be like, oh my gosh, remember when we had to do long distance and we thought it was so hard? Like that was like in the grand scheme of things, like we are planning to be for lifers. Yeah. So like, you know, we're like, this is not gonna matter when we're like married and been living together for 5-10 years, whatever, like this is gonna be like nothing. We're gonna go through things in life that are probably gonna be much harder than this. So if we can get through this, like whatever.
It really truly tests your communication styles. And I do think that if you can nail that by
Yeah.
distance
Yeah.
and then pursue either like living together or like in-person full-time relationship, like it's just going to be better versus I think a lot of people like if they go from in-person to long distance, that's probably more challenging.
Yeah. Because you're used to the intimacy consistently all the time.
Almost needy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And like if you can, and that's one of the things too is I found in past relationships, I've lost myself. Like I haven't been me. I've focused on being what they wanted or like molding to them. The fact that you're long distance almost it helps because you get to still be you. They get to still be them. And then you find out how you fit together.
Yeah, that's lovely. I'm so happy.
I'm one of the people that I used to hate. Like I'd be like, shut the fuck up. I'm single. I'm stuffing my face with like off sale Valentine's Day shit. Fuck you.
I gotta say, I'm known to be a couple hater.
It's okay. You can hate us.
I'm a bitter little emo bitch. Just haven't been touched in a long time.
Kid, so.
But I will say, like, I haven't met your girlfriend, but like the posts are so sweet. And what I love about it too is like I just love when people are stoked about each other. I don't like excessive PDA, but like seeing little posts here and there, I gotta say, I eat it up. I fucking love it. When you were talking about like seeing relationships and going, that's not what I want.
No, yeah.
I gotta have someone who's stoked to be with me.
Yeah.
And not afraid to say it publicly.
And I think that that's the thing too, is like I all the time I'm like, how did I get so effing lucky? And I feel like sometimes people like lose that and they're kind of like, oh, you're with me now. You know what I mean? You take it for granted. And I'm just like gobsmacked all the time. I'm like, what karmic shit did I do in a past life to get this? Because like, I'm just always, like I said, like all I knew was like, this is like, I'm not saying all my last relationships were prison cells, but I'm saying like, that's all I knew is like, that's all I thought I could get.
The bar was low.
The bar was very, very low. And so when I got this, I was just like, every day I'm like, how? We constantly say to each other and we both go back and forth. We're both like, how was I so lucky to get you? And I'm like, I asked myself the same fucking question.
How'd you meet?
So we met. It's a really funny way that we met, actually. So it was during, I would say, sorry, I'm getting like the margarita burps. So
we're drinking margaritas, by the way.
Yes,
that Chelsea.
I'm drinking a lot faster than you, but that's why I brought this over.
I'm a wussy drinker. So.
Oh, we should have done bourbon. I love bourbon.
That's a good sipping drink for me.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it was during like May of last year, 2020.
2021?
Oh my God.
It's 2022.
I know. So in 2021, May of last year, I think this like person on TikTok, and it wasn't even someone I follow. So it was very random that it showed up on my For You page. This person was like, hey, are you queer? Are you over 21? Do you want to go to this all-female event? Like, I'm looking to create a group of like females wanting to go to this female queer event. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that sounds awesome. Like I want to be a part of that. So I like commented. They had like a chat group. Originally there was a fuck ton of us. But it got narrowed down over like time because we did a couple of Zoom calls. So it was planning on being in October. And so this was May when we were getting all this stuff together and kind of like figuring out who was actually like gonna go for sure. And there was so many of us who wanted to stay at the like event hotel because it was like a whole weekend, basically like drinking, partying, pool partying, queer event for females. And there were also like trans males and non-binary people there as well. I think there was like 40 of us who knew we all wanted to stay at the event hotel. So we made our own Snapchat group. And like the Snapchat group, we would talk like every day. We would like message, Snapchat each other, all this stuff. Almost all of us were single going into it. So she actually wasn't a part of it at that point yet.
Really?
No, not yet. So I think it was, I'm the only Canadian. The rest of the people were from the States. And basically what happened was they were like, hey, let's do New York City Pride. And at this point, still, I didn't even know if borders were going to be open yet because at this point, like it was still borders completely shut. But I was hoping, I was like, fingers crossed by October, I can go to the States. I can go to this event because I'd bought my tickets. I'd paid for the hotels and stuff. I had like flights booked and stuff. So in June, a couple of them went to New York City Pride, and they were Snapchatting us while they were at New York City Pride. And one of them Snapchatted us, and I was like, who is in the back of your Snapchat? Because like they're not a part of the group.
Who's that person?
Who is that? And they were like, oh, this is like this person that we met during New York City Pride. Literally, like, well, I think they made a TikTok with that person in it, and I saw them in the TikTok, and I actually kind of felt this I thought I was feeling jealousy because they were getting to hang out with my friends that I'd made that I haven't got to meet yet. So at the time, I thought I was jealous that like I wasn't there, but really, I like look back and I'm like, I just was jealous because they were like making a TikTok with her, and like I saw her and immediately like wanted to know who she was, all this stuff. So anyways, I thought nothing of it. A week goes by and like New York City Pride is well over, and they're like, and also like a day later they were FaceTiming us, and there was another person, a completely different person, and they were like, yeah, we're trying to convince so-and-so to like come to the event with us. And I was like, yeah, you should totally come. It's going to be so fun. So a week goes by and they're like, yeah, we convinced one of our friends from New York to come to the event. And I was thinking, oh, it's that girl from FaceTime. I was thinking it was the second girl.
Okay.
Like I had kind of completely forgotten about my girlfriend. And I like, for some reason I thought, oh, it's the person they were FaceTiming trying to convince to go. Because I literally only saw Kay, my girlfriend, in that one Snapchat, in that one TikTok, and that was the last she was mentioned when I asked my friend, like, who is that? So when they were talking about, oh, we've convinced someone to go, I'm like, oh, it's that person from the FaceTime that I was saying, yes, come, like, it's going to be so fun, blah, 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 blah. So they add her to the Snapchat group, and then she starts Snapchatting us, and I'm like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, it's not that girl. It's the girl that I asked about. And literally, it's so funny. I had this person that I met on Tinder that I had kind of like gone on a couple of dates with. I was into, but they weren't really into me, and it was super confusing. So my girlfriend's first introduction to me, because I had already seen her, her first introduction to me was me bitching about this other girl who wasn't into me. Then going and getting blackout drunk and hooking up with someone and not even knowing that I'd hooked up with them because I blacked the fuck out.
No.
And me Snapchatting, because this was like my girl group that I would like vent to and whatever. So the next morning I Snapchatted my friends being like, oh my God, I drank so much on this date last night. And I don't remember sleeping with the girl that I went on the date with last night, but I just woke up butt ass naked in my own bed with a fat fucking lip. So
what?
2 + 2 = 4. I'm assuming we slept together, but I'm alone, right? So literally, that's her first introduction to me.
Was like you were in
me Snapchatting them, ranting about this, being like, I was so upset that so-and-so didn't like me that I said yes to another Tinder date. I went out, I blacked the fuck out. I think we hooked up. I don't know. So God. That's her first intro.
And did she roll with it?
Well, like it was, so what happened was like, once she was a part of the group and Snapchatting us, and I became like super flirty in the group chat, and she thought like, oh, this is just how the group chat is. Like, because again, all of us were single. We would even like send our nudes in the group chat and be like, hey, what's up? Feeling myself today.
Like the best dating app ever, really.
Yeah. Well, it was just like lesbian friend groups can be complicated.
Yes.
But they can also be really amazing.
Right.
So we were just all really open and whatnot. And so she just was like, oh, she's just being flirty because she's being friendly. But then one of the other girls was like, oh my gosh, like this is the hardest I've seen Chelsea. Like I haven't seen Chelsea flirt with anybody in this group yet.
You got a crush.
Like she was, so like she was starting to get the hint. And then she like separately messaged me being like, because
Snapchat message?
Yeah, Snapchat message. She separately Snapchat messaged me outside of the group. I think I had sent some like photos, and she was like, I just have to tell you, like, you are so gorgeous. You are so beautiful. And I was like, yes, the photos worked. The flirting paid off. And so then we started talking. At first it was very like complimenty, very like sexy. And I was like, well, like, I don't know, like, is she actually even into me? Because it seems like it's very just all about kind of like flirting and sexy and all yada yada. But then randomly, like 2 days later, she was like, hey, I'm on my lunch break. Do you want to FaceTime? And I was like, yeah, sure. Okay. I'm just doing my makeup right now, but all right. So I'm like half baked, like fucking, and we just like started talking, and then like I think after she got off work that night, we like FaceTime for 6 hours.
There you go.
And we just kept like, we would fall asleep on FaceTime.
Oh my gosh.
And we still like constantly FaceTime every day, like almost every day when our schedules allow it and stuff. So it just like kept snowballing from there. And like I think it was like day 15, like I was like, I'm in love with this person. Like,
oh wow.
I was like, oh fuck, like
Whirlwind.
I've never met this person and I'm in love with them. And we like were very early on kind of both said, you know, like I'm interested in you, so I'm not going to really talk to anybody else, but we're not going to label it because we haven't even met in person yet.
Right.
So our event was for October that everyone was going to, but we were like, we should meet before that. Because that event's going to be craziness, a bunch of drinking. Like, I want to meet you separately. So as soon as the borders open, I went down to New York and like told her that I loved her within like 48 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And it just went from there.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Whirlwind romance.
It was a whirlwind romance. Still is. It's amazing. I can't believe. I feel so lucky.
Isn't that crazy how like those little things can like connect you to somebody? Like those little
I know. I'm like
tiny
if
sequences
that,
of
I'm
events.
like, if that TikTok never showed up on my For You page, because I didn't follow that person, so it's not like I was gonna see it. Yeah, if it had never showed up, if they had never gone to Pride, if that event hadn't happened, like we would have had no meeting.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe in fate?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do. And I feel like, especially because I get deja vu all the time.
Oh my God, me too.
And I'm definitely a person who I know some people will be like, oh my God, astrology.
Oh no, here we go.
I fucking love.
Did you see that I requested your friendship on CoStar?
Oh my God, did you?
When you were on the way over, because I wanted to look to see if I had you on there.
I think that I have an account on CoStar, but I use Sanctuary.
Oh.
So I think that I still have an account on CoStar, but I don't have the app downloaded.
Oh, all right. Sanctuary.
But yeah, no, I definitely think that certain things are meant to happen. We have an influence on those things, kind of like the path always changes depending on what we do. Obviously, we have free will. But
think about it this way, though. Do we?
Okay, like if we want to get into that, that's a whole. You don't want to get me like. Like I need to be if we're on this podcast stoned, like we're gonna go down
intoxicated.
Oh my God, we'd go down a whole loop of like conspiracy theories. One of my favorites being like, can you prove that we are not brains in a jar right now?
Brains in a jar.
Yeah, that we are just brains in a jar. That I am not just a brain in a jar. Is there any way to prove that right now?
Well, you're not in a jar.
How do you know? Do you know what I mean, though? Like, how could you prove without 100% of a doubt that you are not just a brain in a jar?
Is that kind of like simulation theory?
Similar. Yeah.
In a weird way where it's like it's all consciousness. Like it's all. Yeah. I mean, that's some crazy shit.
Exactly.
But
I can't think about that for too long or I give myself headaches. I'm like, oh my God. Like, nope, I just need to live in the moment. Because if I think...
My brain hurts about it.
I know. My first philosophy class that I took, I was like, I left there with a migraine, but like afterwards, like my eyes were like a little bit more open to the fact. And that's why I feel like I have to look on the positive side of things. I have to live life in the moment because I'm like, who even knows if this is fucking real?
I think that when bad things start to happen to people, the whole there is no free will can feel almost comforting in a way. And by that I mean, okay, so like when someone dies, usually you're like, this is not fair. They were a good person. They were friends with so many people. They should not have died. But they died. You can't control it. You literally, there's very little that we can control. And we have to let go of the idea that we can control everything.
Yeah,
so
we can
like,
only control a very limited little amount of things.
so little. And so like if you like lost a $20 bill and you were broke at the time and you really needed that $20, there was a reason you lost that. It wasn't meant to be yours. Things that you don't get just weren't meant to be yours at that time.
Yeah.
And so why be pissed about it? Because you just can't.
Exactly.
And that's kind of my thing with the whole free will thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of freeing to me it's strange that in times of chaos, I actually feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong
I
with
always
that.
say that I want to be around for the end of the world because I feel like what a cool thing to like.
Honestly,
like everyone's gonna go out. Everyone's gonna go out.
I feel like I would do okay in like an apocalypse or in like in a zombie apocalypse. I think I'd do all right.
Mental illness, maybe.
I honestly think I would do all right. I have a plan. Get to Newfoundland. It's an island.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
With limited population,
Yep.
spread out population, plenty of wildlife, plenty of fish, plenty of fishing supplies. If you do go to like a town where all the people have turned like fucking zombies, there's not gonna be many of them. Every grandma's got a whole shelf of pickles.
Right.
You got food.
That's very
You got
true.
hunting knives. You got everything you need is on Newfoundland.
Big guys that could fight them.
Right?
You know?
I mean, yeah. So that's my zombie plan.
You mentioned ADHD, but like when I think of anxiety, I got recently diagnosed with not only ADHD, but generalized anxiety disorder, which I never thought that I could be someone who was diagnosed with anxiety. But I live alone and I catastrophize. So I'm always thinking someone's going to be breaking in to murder me. So I don't sleep a lot. I'm on edge a lot. I'm usually always ready.
Yeah.
For something bad to happen.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, I do think that is
Makes
a
you more
superpower.
prepared.
It's a superpower in
Yeah.
a strange way. I do think that the anxious bitches would do great in a zombie apocalypse.
Probably. They would like anytime they come across like a crew of people, they would be like constantly be like, I don't know about you.
And
You know what I
are you
mean?
an empath?
I feel like
There's that trend going around on TikTok that's like.
do you know what's funny? I know the person that started that trend.
Shut up! Do you
We
really?
went to high school together.
Oh my god!
And she actually reached out to me because she was like, I'm getting so much hate. People are literally making fun of me. And I literally just chose that word because the trend started with a video that she made being like walking into a room and meeting somebody that everyone says they love and then getting that energy from them because you're and she was like, I just chose that word. I don't like necessarily think that I'm an empath, but it's just like, you know, all these people really love this person and you get weird energy from them. And she was like, and in the TikTok, I just like kind of backed out of the room. Like I was just talking about like me sensing weird energy from someone and everyone fucking ran with it. And she was like, I get the fucking hate comments. I'm getting all these people like
it was a serious TikTok, right? She was serious about
it wasn't
literally satire at the time.
No, at the time she was like, I'm walking into a room and all these people are like, oh my God, you're gonna love this person. And then I get a weird energy from them. And she was like, I didn't mean for it to look super dramatic. I just like walked into the room and then like walked back out because I was like, but everyone's kind of gone with it. But I think that like I do pick up on other people's energies pretty easily. I feel like I'm a really emotional person. I feel like I'm a very observant person. So I kind of can like pick out like if I'm in a group and one of my friends is uncomfortable, like I can sense that in some ways. But I think a lot of that is with being like someone who not necessarily an empath, but you're empathetic. You can easily put yourself in somebody else's shoes and you're observant. I feel like that's what like some empaths are. I do believe in a bit of spirituality and a bit of, you know, cosmic energy and all this stuff. But if you take all of that away, I think that some people, yes, are able to pick up on other people's emotions and feelings a lot easier than others. So yes, I think I would consider myself a little bit. Yeah.
Oh man, it can be tough. The test is if you're at a party and everyone's happy, but one person is sad.
Yeah, and you can see it,
and you're drawn to that person versus
the other people.
And that's totally me too. Yeah,
like, and that's also like, with being people pleasing. You want somebody else to have a good time. But going back to the generalized anxiety thing, it's so funny because I have like everyone gets anxiety. We have certain situations that they go into. Like, that's impossible. Anxiety is a natural thing in people. But I understand it, but I don't get like the anxiety you have of like someone's gonna break into my house. I'm like
catastrophizing. Yeah,
I know. I can't feel it the way you feel it. I can understand it. Do you know what I mean?
You know what's strange is like, and I was literally yesterday's podcast, I was talking about this, about how anxiety is interesting in that it's so different in everybody. Like some people are socially anxious, or some people are hypochondriacs, so they're scared about everything being wrong. For me, this is deep, but like, and I think it's a lot in my chart, my astrology chart too.
Yeah.
I do feel like since a young kid, I've have this weird fixation on death.
Okay.
And my own death. Yeah. And struggling with that. And
like coping with the fact that one day you're going to die.
Yeah.
See, I think as a depressed bitch who spent most of their life wanting to die, I have a completely different weird relationship with death where I'm just like, I literally spent so much time wanting and trying to get to that point that like I'm not anxious about death because I'm like, I literally wished it upon myself. Like I would like the times that I like, because I have tried to commit suicide before, but the times that I couldn't, but I wanted it to happen, I would literally wish for freak accidents to happen so that my parents or family members didn't have to experience that, like, oh my God, she killed herself. Do you know what I mean? I would literally be like, I hope that my car that I'm in crashes, doesn't hit any other cars, but just like a tree falls on me and I die instantly. Like I would constantly hope for that shit,
freak accident,
almost daily.
No way.
I would hope for something to happen. Probably between the ages of 13 and 23. Every day, I would think about death.
That is number one. I'm glad you were unsuccessful.
Thank you. Me too. Again, it's the things that aren't meant for you, but you're meant to go through. That's a bit of fate, I think, right there. Like each time it didn't successfully happen because I wasn't supposed to. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah. It sucked, but I was meant to go through those things so that I could be who I am today.
It's cheesy to say, it does make you fucking stronger.
It does. It definitely does.
And the depression side, there's a great movie. Yeah. It's called Melancholia. Have you ever seen it with Kirsten Dunst? Highly recommend.
I don't think I have.
Because it's all about like a planet colliding with Earth, and everyone knows the planet's coming. Yeah. And it's just going to happen. Yeah. And it's all about how people deal with that. Yeah. And in the movie, Kirsten Dunst's character has literal clinical depression. Which, by the way, I feel like a lot of people say they have depression, but actually don't. Yeah. And that's because when I did my psych assessment, I was like, I got depression. I'm going to really pitch depression to this bitch. Yeah. And she was like, you're not actually depressed. You go through depressive episodes. Yeah. Because your ADHD and anxiety get you there. Yeah. But depression is actually not my core one. Yeah. I think that I had previously chronic depression, but now it's more of like episodes. Yeah. And even chronic depression, I don't even think I can wholly say that, because some people who have chronic depression are like literally can't hold a job, can't hold can't go to bed. Yeah, I was able to do those things. Yep. But like I spent every fucking day thinking, at some point in the day, I can guarantee you at least once I would think about suicide or dying. And that right there, I mean, that's one of the big questions in psych assessments where they're like, like there's passive and active thoughts. So like for me, it was never an active thought. The closest I got to it was being so depressed that I was thinking in my head, okay, my cat, I love my cat to death. I need to make sure my cat. There needs to be a plan for the cat. I had pictured myself dropping my cat off at my sister's place, and that's as far as I got in terms of ever planning or envisioning me trying to do that. But in this movie, she has clinical depression, and spoiler alert, I mean, still see the movie. Yeah. But in those last moments, she was calm. Yeah. Because she was so depressed that the end was actually like where she wanted to be, which is so fucking dark and depressing. And truly, you guys listening, we're talking very honestly about this shit right now. Please, like, if you are in a dark place, please get help. Please reach out to friends. Yeah. Don't fucking deal with this shit. Truly. Yeah. I can't say that enough. Space, yeah. It really could make me cry just knowing how many people struggle with this. Yeah. On that movie, if
from the sounds of that movie, you should absolutely read my favorite novel. They both die at the end.
Ooh, okay. I think I've heard of. I think this was on a couple lists of like depressing books.
Good, but it's so good. Basically, in this world, you the day you're gonna die, you get a phone call saying you have 24 hours left to live.
Oh, bitch!
So
this is my shit
so
right here.
Fucking good. I made my girlfriend, and it was so funny because I was like, I'm gonna send you my favorite book, not even thinking about the connections. The book's based in New York. I forgot. I had like listened to it as an audiobook the summer before I met my girlfriend. Yeah,
okay.
Because in the summer I drive my motorcycle. So like it'd be great if I go on long rides. I just plug in an audiobook and drive. So the summer before I met her, I had listened to it. So like some of the details had obviously fuzzed out, but I was like, I'm gonna send you my favorite book. I sent it to her, and she was like, "This is based in New York." On my birthday.
Whoa, shut up.
Yeah, like, and then she was like, one of the main characters lives in my neighborhood. Like, and she was like telling me all this stuff. She was like, they're literally talking about this hospital. And then when I went to New York, she took me to one of the statues in Central Park that they reference. It was really cute.
Shit,
but it's
crazy.
such a good book. You should definitely read.
I will check
read
that
it.
out.
Yeah.
Is that a Netflix thing too, or no?
I think HBO was actually going to make it into a series, but I haven't heard anything about it since the summertime. I hope they do because it's so good. But like books are always so much better.
That's what a lot of smart
Books are
people
always
say.
so much better. Well,
I just can't get through books. ADHD.
That's very fair. I can't get through books now. I used to in high school be able to read fucking book after book after book, but now it's really got to grab me. I feel like TV has just become too good.
TV is so
and
insane.
I love the visualization.
That's my
right.
thing. That's my thing.
But I am a creative person, so sometimes if the book is good, you know what I mean. If I can picture it, and if it's got something interesting that captures me, I'll finish it. But right now, like it has been. I've been on the same book for fucking months. I'm trying so hard to get through it. So hard.
Okay, so that was a really deep conversation. Another segment. We might have touched on, I don't know what your answer is going to be, but we might have touched on some of these things. But this is my What's Wrong With You segment. Which is, what's something that maybe you're struggling with currently that you're working on to be better? A flaw, an insecurity that you have that you're like coming to terms with.
First, before I answer this, I have to pee. Too many margaritas.
Please go pee before we get into this very serious segment. All right. What do we got?
Yeah, well, we already covered depression and suicide. So those were some of the things.
Just some light
some light topics. Some, dinner conversation. Honestly, that's my dinner conversation. If you can talk about suicide at dinner with me, then we're probably good friends.
Have you been on antidepressants or anything for
Never.
No?
I'm actually terrified of antidepressants.
So I'm on one right now.
Yeah.
Actually, I was put on one for, oddly enough, ADHD and anxiety, even though it's an antidepressant. And it is life-changing.
Wow, interesting. Well, I feel like because I you never really like conquer depression.
No.
But because I've like gotten to the point where like I do want to be here. I want to live life. I want to experience things that like I've kind of found my own way to deal with it. Yeah. Right. So,
that's a great point.
Before when I hadn't yet found that, I was like afraid it was going to like really change me.
Yeah. That's
do you know what I mean?
A fair fear.
And like, that fucking TikTok sound that's like, I'm going to lose my sparkle. Even though I saw a recent TikTok video that was really good where this guy was like, I literally thought that about going on to antidepressants that I was going to lose my sparkle. And he was like, guys, that was not my sparkle. Just
that was sadness.
That was not sparkle. There was nothing sparkly about that.
That was sadness and overcompensating.
Yeah. So, So we touched on the depression. We also touched on the ADHD. So I would say, like I find like one of the things that is wrong with me that I just find so hard to cope with on my own. Like I find that I need another person to help me with it to keep it is like being motivated. Like I find unless I have like a reason, like I won't be. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things I feel like I probably could have and still can be successful in, but I lack the motivation to go that extra mile for it. You know what I mean? Social media, for example. There are a lot of people who make a living out of being a content creator, out of being an influencer. If I really wanted to, I could probably put my all into it and like fucking make a career out of it, do that for a living. I just don't want to.
Do you think it's because you don't want it enough?
Probably. Yeah, probably. Like it's not meant for me. And that's like there's this term called being like a Renaissance person.
Yeah, what's this term?
So being a Renaissance person kind of just means that it's similar to like jack of all trades. But I wouldn't even call it like because like that saying jack of all trades, master of none, like it means that you are not an expert in any one particular thing. Right?
Yes.
Like I would say, I'm good at art. I'm not great. I'm good at fashion. I am not great. I am good at social media. I am not great. Do you know what I mean? Like there are so many things in my life and I just think that I'm one of those people who wants to try everything, but it's so disheartening because I see other people being successful in those things. And I'm like, if I could just
apply yourself,
pick one and really apply myself, I could be great at this. I know I could, but I want to try everything. I want to do everything. I want to travel. I want to snowboard. I want to surf. I want to rock climb.
Have a good relationship.
Have a good relationship.
I
want to have a good social life. I want to experience the adrenaline of my job of helping save lives. But at the same time, I want to, create social media. Like, so.
Yeah, that's a big struggle for a lot of people, I think.
I think that's like my number one thing. And even small tasks sometimes too. I'm like, I've just gotten off of 4 night shifts in a row. Like on my day, like literally while I'm working, I will think to myself, on my days off, I want to get the laundry done, work out once or twice, clean out the fridge, and maybe, hang out with one friend, right? 4 days off, that's 4 things. Does not sound that hard, right? It'll be Wednesday night, the night before I'm supposed to work Thursday morning, and I'll be like, so we should probably do one of those 4 things we had originally said we wanted to do.
So I have some insight into this.
Yeah.
Because I recently got because I'm now medicated for ADHD.
Yeah.
I do think that this is highly related to ADHD.
Yeah.
And,
it absolutely is.
Management of that, which is very hard.
It is hard.
But like I got a planner in attempts to be more organized. And I got one that is only 4 months, but it has a monthly spread.
Nice.
It has like weekly goals, monthly goals. It has affirmations. It's kind of like a journal and a planner in one. But the daily page is very intense because it's like to-do list, schedule, your gratitude, what I can do today, like what I can do today to be happy, what I can do better tomorrow. And the weekly spread is like you have to list goals for like health and fitness, personal relationships, work. And I remember like looking at it just being very overwhelmed, and I posted like an Instagram story about it. And actually a friend of mine who's a therapist responded being like, this is the issue with these types of things. Yeah. They're making you do too much.
Yeah. That's one of the things too. I find for me with like, like I'll be looking at, say, just for example, my apartment, and I'll be like, okay, my whole fucking room's a mess. You need to put the clothes away. You need to get rid of some clothes. You need to do the laundry, like clean your sheets. That's just my room. Then in the other room, I'm like, I got to vacuum. I got to do this. And then in the kitchen, I'm like, I got to take out the garbage. I've got to finish the dishes. I've got to clean out the fucking old containers in the goddamn fridge that have been there for weeks. And I'm looking at all of it.
And it's too overwhelming.
I get so
you
overwhelmed.
Freeze.
Yeah.
It's ADHD
and instead,
freezing.
I'm like, you know what? You just worked 4 night shifts. I think you deserve a day in bed
to rest
with some takeout.
Yeah.
And then that becomes 3 days in bed with takeout.
Right. One thing I liked with the planner was I started writing positive things. So like, for example, if I had 4 to-dos and I did one, I would write, I'm really proud of myself for doing this one thing.
Nice.
And I found that helped because now I'm more focused on just getting one thing done versus 5.
I find another
which is
issue
helpful
for me is like, I still haven't figured out the good balance with medication for ADHD.
Oh, yeah.
So originally I was on 12-hour long-acting ADHD, but I work inconsistent shift work. And I find my ADHD is not a problem at work because...
Well, it's almost a superpower at work.
Almost
probably.
at work, yeah. Being able to focus on many different things at once is a good thing at work for me.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's not really when I'm at work that I need it. It's kind of like when I get off work or on my days off in like specific moments that I need it. So more recently, I was prescribed Ritalin. So like I'm like seeing how that's working, but I find again one of the issues is I end up hyper focusing on the wrong thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
like I'll take my Ritalin and I'll, instead of being like I need to clean my room, I'm like I'm gonna do my makeup and film TikToks for 2 hours.
Of course, because it's chasing serotonin.
Exactly. So
And that's what we do. We're really good at it.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
love
thing about
serotonin.
ADHD.
I love it.
It's the best. That's the thing about ADHD people.
Mm-hmm.
We're
We chase
usually
the things
very
that we-
creative,
Yep.
and we can get actually probably a lot of creative pursuits done. But
Yep.
it's those menial
And
tasks
last
that we
minute.
struggle with.
I find like I am great under pressure.
Me too. I'm the same.
I literally
need
one
it.
time I took advanced English in high school and we had like our portfolio due on a specific date and I wrote 1,000 word essays in one night.
Oh my god.
And then it was a snow day the next day and it was a Friday, so I had the whole weekend.
Like fuck yeah, bitch! I conquered that.
Actually, my thought process was like, damn, I had all weekend. I could have ended up doing this. I'm like, bitch, no, you would have done it Sunday night.
Right?
You would have done it Sunday. Also, though, taking Ritalin, so funny. I'm like, where the fuck was this in university? Excuse me?
Do you find it?
I could have got such better grades.
Do you like it?
Yes and no. Like I said, my only issue is I end up hyper focusing on the wrong thing. But I do like it. I do not recommend having 2 cups of coffee.
No.
And 2 doses of your medication. I had a weird day not too long ago.
Oh no.
Because like you're figuring out the dosage too.
Oh yeah.
And like as someone who has a bit of a medical background, like I'm like, okay, I've been on this medication for a month, 5 milligrams. I'm like, okay, like I'm going to try taking 2 in one day instead of 1 and upping the dose because that even if I went to my doctor and my doctor was like, all right, now we're going to switch. If 5 milligrams isn't working, we're going to try 10 milligrams.
Yeah. And they're really good at that. They're like, how's it going? Do you want?
But that day I had 2 cups of coffee as well. The day that I was like,
do they not recommend caffeine on Ritalin?
well, caffeine is a stimulant and Ritalin is basically meth.
So do they actually say you shouldn't drink coffee at all? Or just not?
Nobody said that to me, but like
Okay.
just through my own knowledge, I
Knew.
knew 2 cups of coffee plus
Oh my
2
God.
doses of Ritalin is
Wired.
I was like,
Wired.
I was like worse than having ADHD. I was like, ugh, like everywhere, and then I just like felt like I was buzzing all like for 3 hours straight. I was like, oh God, okay, we have learned a lesson.
Because that's where I'm going next. So I'm on Wellbutrin right now.
I was on Bifenton at first.
Oh, okay.
I want to everyone keeps talking about Vyvanse.
What's this?
It's an ADHD medication.
Ooh, okay.
And I have heard so many people say that they had a good deal with Vyvanse. The one thing, though, I do miss about Bifenton, because I was on the 12-hour long-acting Bifenton, is this isn't a healthy thing, but it would decrease my appetite. I was so skinny, girl. I looked so good. These pants, actually, this is going to be really funny for your listeners. These pants used to fit me.
See, there we go.
Wait. There.
See, oh my God.
That is an elastic holding my pants together.
My gosh.
I haven't worn these pants in like 2 years, but I put them on and they looked so cute with the outfit. I was like, fuck it. I don't care that they don't zip up.
They're great.
I was like, I got a long t-shirt on. Nobody's going to know.
The drug that I'm on right now, too, also does that. And it also doesn't have sexual side effects because that's the thing with antidepressants. A lot of them make it so you can't come. Yeah. This one actually makes you horny. So I'm on the horny skinny drug right now.
Oh, wow. That's a good fucking combo.
I can't complain.
The horny skinny
I truly
drug.
like, and people are like, don't say that. That's not healthy. And I was just like, But
the thing is,
I was like,
with Bifenton,
I like it.
When I was on Bifenton, I did notice, when I first started it, I felt nauseated. I wasn't super hungry. So I made sure that I had a lot of snacks because I'm working 12-hour shifts. I would just make sure that I had a lot of snacks with me. And I was, even if I wasn't eating, 3 big meals a day, I made sure I snacked throughout the day.
Yeah.
So that I was still getting, food in.
You just got to be smart. Yeah.
You just got to be smart about it. Like, don't go on one of these drugs and then be like, oh, it's not making me eat, so I'm not going to eat.
And then all of a sudden you're starving and shaking because you haven't eaten all day.
Well, actually, the thing was on bifenton, I wouldn't even notice that I wasn't hungry.
Oh, shit.
Literally, I would go a whole day and then I'd be like, I haven't eaten anything yet today and I'm still not hungry.
I'm not hungry right now. I mean, I guess we've been drinking too, but like I haven't eaten since brunch. And yeah, I don't even know if I'll have like a big meal before bed. I'll probably just have a snack.
Yeah. But as long as you like, I think when on those types of medications, the most important thought is to consciously make sure you're eating.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So that's a hard thing too, because you're giving people with mental illnesses drugs and thinking that they're like, oh, here you go. Here's the side effects. Like, do with it what you like. We are the not responsible people. We are not the people that are going to check in on ourselves and make sure. Like, you're lucky if you have people like us who are going to be like,
smart with it.
Haven't eaten today. I should probably eat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you're going to have other people who are going to be like, oh, I didn't eat today. All right, time to go to bed.
I think that's, it's a big problem with, I think, people being over-medicated when they're young. I'm actually very thankful that the first time I'm on meds is at this age where
Me too.
I can like appreciate it and like not abuse it.
A little ASMR.
My thing was like the side effects with Wellbutrin. I mean, I upped the dose and I had the worst anxiety for the first 2 weeks. Like, it was bad. It was like impending doom, panic attacks, like just the worst I've ever felt. I upped the dose and I just got through it.
Yeah.
And I have a joke where it's like people were telling me like, just get through it. And I'm like, is this a shitty Netflix show that I'm supposed like, are you just telling me to get to episode 5?
The second season will be so much better.
Right?
Trust me. You just have to know the characters first.
And now I feel great.
Yeah.
But it was scary.
Yeah.
Having those side effects.
It was, yeah. Well, for me, like literally it was scary no longer having those side effects because I was like looking at myself in past pictures, past videos when I was on bifenton when I first started it. And I was like, man, I looked so good. Like, why? I was like, fuck. And then, so for me, it was the opposite where I was like, that was a good, bad side effect. It was,
right.
I felt good, but it's probably not great for me. And now that I'm like eating like a normal human being, I'm like, fuck, I don't fit in these goddamn pants anymore. I also don't work out, and I should.
Oh, do you not?
No.
Well, you look fucking great.
Thanks.
You're not working out.
Thanks.
Come on.
I feel like you know your own body though, and I know like I'm not at my peak. So, but when you work the kind of job that I do at the hours that we do and the inconsistencies, like it's hard to like working out and eating well. I find constantly like having a schedule. And also I'm sure, as a single woman, like even though, yes, I'm not single, but I was single for quite a while before I met my partner. And even now in a long distance relationship, I'm still cooking for one.
And it sucks.
Fucking awful.
It really sucks.
It so sucks to come home from like a 12-hour shift plus overtime and then be like,
we're making a meal prep.
I have to cook something.
Guess
what? I don't want to cook chicken and broccoli. Guess what? I do want to cook the frozen pizza in my fucking freezer.
Yeah. And convenience spending. So a lot of takeout, a lot of eating out.
Yep.
And there's this thing called
food. And I love bad food.
Oh, me too.
I love microwave, not even microwave, but like oven pizza I love bagel bites. I don't know what it is.
I truly want to buy some now because you mentioned them.
They're so good. But I also like, don't get me wrong, I'm actually a really good cook. And
I could tell,
I can cook healthy.
Yeah.
I just don't have the desire or time for it. That's one of the things, like, again, talking about how I find my relationship is like such a good relationship for me is because I know, like, when my partner was here for a week, we kind of got an idea of what it would be like to live together and stuff. And we went grocery shopping one day and she cooked for me one day, I cooked for her one day. And we constantly like
balanced.
Yeah, but we also constantly like daydream and like talk about if we live together. And one of the first things that like made me fall in love with her was like when I was like, I'm going like just ranting about my day at work and how long and tiring it is. And she's like, oh, like if I had the day off and you were at work, I'd make sure, the house is clean and there'd be like food ready for you. And like I'd have your lunch packed for you for the next day. And I was like, what?
Huh?
Excuse me?
Yes.
Did you just say that you would clean my apartment for me?
That's the dream. My God.
Yeah.
So nice. Acts of service.
Yes. Yeah. We both love acts of service.
You're probably a gift. Okay, so I do want to circle back to something.
Yeah.
You said you kind of underplayed my friend assumption about you.
Oh, which one?
That you're a top tier friend, you go above and beyond. Because Vanessa told me that you gave her, sent her a care package
when she was on COVID isolation.
So are you a big gifts person too?
I'm a gift giver. And it's so funny because hilarious. One of my exes, this was a huge thing for him. Like I'd go out shopping for myself, right? Like I'm like, oh, I've got like a weekend with the girls coming up. I want to get a cute outfit. And I would come back with like a shirt for him, pants for him, all this shit. And so when Christmas and stuff would come around, he would know that I was going to get him a fucking good gift. And he would get anxious thinking he thought that like that was also my love language. Don't get me wrong. I do love gifts. However, like I get more joy in giving gifts than getting. And actually, people think this is really funny. But when Christmas comes around, I send my family a list with links because I have no filter. You can read my emotions on my face very easily. So if like my mom gives me a sweater and I fucking hate it, I'm like,
I hate it.
I'm like, well, no, I don't say that, but I'm like, thanks, Mom. I love it. It's so great.
And it's very obvious that you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
I'm the same,
like,
honestly.
I send them a fucking list with links because I'm like, I honestly, like I get joy in you getting me what I want. I'm not gonna lie. Like if I give you a list and you get like 3 things off that list, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, thank you so much. This is great. Like I wanted these things. But if you get me something that like has no relation to me, like I honestly, it's more so like I feel bad because I feel like that's been wasted. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I mean? If it's some random
they didn't nail it.
thing that you can't return, I'm like, this is a waste on me.
What you're doing is you're setting them up for success.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like there's nothing wrong with that.
But like I get so much joy out of gift giving. I love surprising people. And like I also, like you said, you know, as a person who likes to be a good friend, like I like taking care of people. I like when you're down and you feel your worst, like I did something to make you smile. It's a bit selfish. I get a serotonin boost from it. You know what I mean? So I literally was like, oh, Vanessa's on COVID lockdown. I'm going to go to Shoppers and get her, you know, some face masks. I'll go get her like a bottle of champs so she can, you know, have some bubbly. And then while I was walking through, like I see all these other things. There was literally, because I think it was like January. So there was all these like, you know, Shoppers has like a bunch of Christmas gifts. They were all marked down. I see this fluffy fucking robe.
Right.
And I'm like, who doesn't want to be stuck in their house in this fluffy fucking robe? Doing a face mask, having a bottle of bubbly, having some Haagen-Dazs and a fucking frozen pizza. I'm like, that's what I would want.
Yeah.
So I showed up at her place.
She told me about it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
I think one of the best things you could do as a friend of someone like Chelsea who loves giving gifts is to radically accept them. So like,
yes,
I'll use the example where we're very much so like into the episode now. So I feel okay to say this. Yeah. I'm in a friend group where we collectively decided no gifts because we don't like the obligation. We don't like the standard.
Yeah.
I'm the brokest one. So like,
I feel that.
I just can't do, I can't afford to be a gift giver. I just can't.
But it's funny. I will spend my last dollar on somebody else.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Like I would rather, like I will be broke as shit and I'll be like, oh, somebody's birthday's coming up. Put it on the credit card. Do you know what I mean? Because I will get such a good feeling knowing that they got something that made them smile.
Totally. Mm-hmm. I don't really like gifts around obligation. Like what you did for Vanessa.
Yeah.
That's so special because that was like a non-obligation gift. That wasn't on a birthday or Christmas or whatever. Like that was like, I genuinely care about you and want you to have something nice.
Yeah. I had a really good friend. She's a local Hallie famous person. Craving Halifax. Danny. Fucking love. Sweetest person.
Yeah.
And I got hit by a car while I was on my skateboard once. And I was off work because I'd injured my hand. It was a lot better than it could have been. So just when the car hit me, I outstretched my hand, hurt my hand. So I was off work for a little bit. And one of the things she did was she got me a care package. Yeah. And it was so lovely. Had some wine, had some chocolate, had a face mask. And one of the things she even said, she's very much similar to me, where like in a real moment, she does not want to be on her phone. If she got to take some pictures of the food, she'll do it. But then afterwards, like she's like, I want to be present with you. She's such a nice human being.
That's good to know.
So she, she was like, don't post this on social. She was like, no, seriously, I did not do this for you to post on social. I wanted you to know I'm here. I care for you and I hope you're okay.
That's like donating to a charity and not posting your donation.
Yeah.
Like that's like the ultimate kindness. I don't need validation from anyone else. I just want to do this for you.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah. I love gift giving.
That's
I love
nice
it so
of
much.
you.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. We are almost 2 hours. We're almost Roganing it. I hate to say it. You're Roganing.
I'm a chatty Kathy.
Okay. Final segment.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinion. Don't hate me for this, but it's time for unpopular opinion. So this is different.
Fun.
This is different from rant because to me, rants are more universal. Probably multiple people can relate to you on it. Unpopular opinion is like, what are you going to say at a party that makes people go, and turn around and go, you think that?
I find this kind of hard because I was like
tough.
trying to figure out, because I feel like I'm a pretty sensible, agreeable person. So, I mean, this might not necessarily be a hugely like unpopular opinion. Like some people might agree with me, some people might not agree with me. And I don't want this to come off materialistic or whatever, but like money can buy happiness. It
Ding the bell.
absolutely,
Ding it.
absolutely can. We have built a capitalistic society.
Yeah.
Where if you do not have money, you don't like succeed. And I'm not even talking, I'm not even talking about like the millions. How much better would your life be with an extra $2,000 a month?
Right? Yes.
Not
that's
just a
it.
small amount. Just
very, very much so better.
Amount. Like
very
how much
so
better would your life be if right now I cleared all your debt? That's it.
Oh.
You still make what you make, but you're not paying off a credit card, student loan, whatever.
Yeah, totally.
How much better would your life be?
It would be 1,000 times
Right?
better. It would be, I would be forever your slave.
Yeah, and like, and I'm sure at some point, you know, like yes, money doesn't buy those moments with people or whatever. But guess what? I have to spend money to be with my partner. I have to buy a plane ticket. I have to buy a hotel room. Money fucking does buy our happiness. Rent, having a roof over your house, like even just having nice clothes.
Yeah.
Being able to put makeup on our faces today. We have created a society where money absolutely buys happiness and people flash it and show it off all the time.
I think it's like there should be a footnote on that. Money doesn't buy happiness to a point. Because I do think I think that there's a point in having money where it starts to not matter. Yeah. But I think the whole point of what you're saying is like,
I'm not talking big money. I'm not talking big money.
We need a baseline of livable wage. And that needs to be...
Or even just like...
the default.
It's like, I'm definitely like, I lean on that like liberal socialist scale because like while... Like, I think it's fucking dumb for one person to be worth $300 billion or to make $1 million a year. I think that's stupid.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that's so funny. Yesterday's guest said the same thing. That was his rant about billionaires.
That's
he hates
so
billionaires.
funny. And and guess what? You know what? Athletes, I know you've worked your fucking ass off, but I don't think you deserve to make that much money.
It's just unnecessary.
It is unnecessary. Like actors, actresses, I know a lot of money goes into those productions and like people are gonna watch your movies for. I don't think you deserve that much money. I'm sorry, I don't. Scientists, people who go out and save other people's lives, like, not to fucking toot the horn of a like, I don't think paramedics deserve to make fucking, the same amount as actors do, but I do believe I think they need to make a little bit more than they do right now.
Oh, yes. Yes,
you know
they should.
I mean? And like the nurses that have been dealing with COVID.
Oh my God.
And like people who are actual, not politicians, but people who actually work for change in this world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
totally.
those people deserve to make more money.
Yes, they do.
They deserve to live a comfortable life. People who have been imprisoned wrongly when they get out of prison and they are proven innocent and they have to completely start over life 20 years later.
Which is so much harder to get a job at that point because you have that on your...
And you don't have education. You don't have experience.
Yeah.
Those people deserve just funds.
Yeah.
And the people who fuck over little people, the people who literally like have no taxation on the grand scheme of the amount they make per year, fuck you.
Yeah, truly.
You have people out there breaking their backs doing shit and you just sit and you're like, oh, well, I earned it. I'm in a Facebook. I'm in an Amazon. The reason you make money is off of other people.
Yep.
So like...
Even people like fucking Apple.
Yeah.
Your Apple phone was manufactured over in
by
China.
some probably fresh 18-year-old who wants to kill himself.
Isn't
That's
that
why,
wild?
remember like back when fucking Apple first came out and they had that like article about the fact that their like housing buildings had nets around them, so people wouldn't jump off and kill themselves.
Shit. Oh my God. Fuck.
Yeah. Hopefully I'm remembering that right, but I remember there
up.
was like something about this like apartment building in China for factory workers who it literally had nets around it.
That's insane.
Right?
Holy shit.
And like, you can't tell me that like the same amount of money, if you took someone who lived in like a poverty lifestyle, if you took somebody like that and then you just swap places with them, that they wouldn't say this money hasn't given me freedom and happiness.
Because their basic needs are met. And
more
and
than
more.
that. And more. Yeah. They get like freedoms and liberties that they never would have had it not been for money. And that's our fault. We've created that society. But when people say, oh, money can't buy you happiness, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Yes, it can.
It truly can.
It absolutely can. In this day and age, it definitely can. In any day and age, even in medieval age. Guess what? Kings and queens who had money, sure, you're like, money can't buy happiness. They still had problems on the outside, blah, 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 blah.
There will still be problems.
Their problems were not the same as the fucking peasants' problems.
Exactly.
Yeah. They wouldn't be able to survive a day in those people's shoes.
Yeah. And listen, people can still fuck up and be not great in life and make bad decisions that lead them down roads. Yeah. But yeah, there is no doubt that when you have a bed to sleep in, a roof over your head, food, enough money to have to like, fulfill other needs outside of that, you're going to be happier.
And to me,
you're going to be happier.
Like on a more personal note, like my family came from like small town Newfoundland where they grew up poor. And once my parents got money, like me and my brother said to each other when we became adults, we were like, our parents did not teach us good money basics because they didn't know better. So by the time they had us, like, they weren't teaching us necessarily like the like, say parents who knew about money, dealt with money, would say to their kid, guess what? You have to save to go to school. You're going to get a credit card, only get one. Pay it off because, you know what? They had money. They dealt with money. They knew what to do about it versus, say, my parents had no money, got money. They were set. They were fine. So for us growing up, they were like, oh, now money's not a problem. We're going to give you what you want. You're going to have this and when you get older, you can have a credit card. You can have 5 credit cards
free
if you
for
want.
all. Yeah.
Basically. So like me and my brother like literally said to each other as adults, we were like, our parents did not properly teach us about money because guess what? They never had money.
Right.
So that when they got money and, they were raising us, when I was really little, we had some struggles. But then as I got older, money just wasn't talked about. So then when I became an adult on my own, I'm like learning things on my own, making mistakes on my own that I'm thinking, man, if someone had just told me better earlier. So like had my parents had that experience with money previous to me, they could have taught me better. So that money could have bought my financial freedom now. But instead, I'm 27 and I'm in a fuck ton of debt because nobody ever taught me different.
And credit cards alone should come with a fucking course.
And also, don't get me started on banks.
Yeah.
With overdraft. Your overdraft limits, you are literally charging people
to be poor
who have no money.
Yeah, I know.
Versus, let's like realistically, like bare bones, like talk it out in a way that makes sense. I have no money. You charge me interest on my no money. So then I pay off the no money I owe you. And we go through this cycle where you're getting $45 a month on my insufficient funds fees.
Right.
Versus the people who have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Who are getting taxed very, very little.
Yeah.
Who are you going to make more money off of?
Truly, I know, right?
The people who have no money, the little $45 you can get a month off of me, or the billionaires. Yeah. If you tax them appropriately, who do you think you'd make more money off of?
Yeah, truly.
Not me.
Truly. Mm-hmm. Oh, overdraft fees have fucked me over so much. It's the worst.
I gotta call my bank about mine tomorrow.
It's the worst when you the worst part of it is when you actually like you find a way to get some money and you put it on your card only to realize it doesn't mean anything because there was overdraft fees, or even so you literally did nothing
when you're making the minimum payments and then you realize, say your minimum payment is $20 a month, $15 is interest, the other $5 is on the principal amount.
Yeah,
you're like, so I just paid $15 on the fact that I owe money.
Yeah, truly.
And only $5 on my $500 credit card is actually paid off. So now instead of owing $500, I owe $595.
Yeah.
Because that other $15 just went to you for interest.
I hate it.
I know.
It's the worst.
It is the worst. It's the absolute worst.
Oh man, it's crap world we live in.
Yeah, honestly. And that's why I say money can't buy happiness, because most people who live low to middle wage, one of their biggest stressors in life is finances.
Yep. And even people who aren't in poverty can kill themselves over money, can ruin their life over money.
Gambling.
It's the number one issue with relationships, actually, is fighting about money and finances.
Yeah. I'm so again, back on the fucking astrology topic. My girlfriend's a Virgo.
Oh, interesting. Aries and Virgo.
God, because she is so much more with it. She's more organized. She's more on top of things versus me. I'm like, woo.
Yeah.
She's like, do you really need that? Don't you
Are
have
your moon signs compatible
card?
Though? That's the main question.
I'm moon Cancer. And
that makes so much sense.
Yes, it does. I am
There's
Aries,
the gift-giving
Cancer, and Cancer.
Sorry, say that again. You're Aries.
Aries is my sun sign.
Yep.
I'm a Cancer moon, Cancer rising.
Oh, interesting.
And I think I'm I can't remember the exact placements, but basically of my big 6, 3 are water, 3 are fire.
I totally can see that. like that you're not full fire, there's water there.
No, I'm totally a big mix. I'm half water, half fire, just a whole like literally stubbornness, emotionalness, like yeah.
Which is the best, like I think water to even out the fire placements.
It can be good, but it can also be so chaotic. But no, my girlfriend's a Libra moon and I'm a Cancer moon.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But I find like my Aries sun brings out like her, and she's also I think Sag rising, so she's got a little fire in her. But I find like the areas where she's more shy and reserved, like my Aries, like nature, and my Cancer, who's so in tune with its emotions, like brings her out of her shell, and like gives her a space to be open about those things that she's not really necessarily had the chance to be open about before.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
You know that they do readings where they actually like overlay charts? That would be interesting to see. Like a love compatibility reading where they like overlay your charts.
I know. Yeah.
My God, that's so interesting.
I know. I love astrology.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I think we have to wrap.
I know.
I hate saying it because I could keep talking to you.
I know. We'll do another session.
We'll
Maybe
do
we'll do
another
a me, you,
one.
and Vanessa one.
That would be so fun. Hey, please plug where people can find you.
Rose on the Coast.
Rose on the
HFX.
Coast.
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter. Or wait, no, not Twitter. I started Twitter. I haven't tweeted. TikTok.
TikTok
is my big one. So yeah, Rose on the Coast HFX.
And same handle on Instagram too.
Yeah.
I adore you.
Thank you. I adore you back.
This was like really enlightening and deep and went all like I just love.
We went through a lot of directions.
That's what I love most about this.
Yeah.
Because you can never expect like having you on to go from talking about wigs to capitalism and wealth
suicide.
and finances. Like it really truly went everywhere.
I have so many layers.
You're the most beautiful onion that there is.
Thank you.
A
bloomin' onion.
You were amazing. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
And you get to do the honors when you ring that bell, but like do a really good ring. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Intoxicated Podcast. If you enjoyed this week's episode, make sure you subscribe on whatever podcast app you use and leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts. You can also give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram at Intoxicated Podcast and check out our video episodes on the Intoxicated YouTube channel. Until next week, feel hard and talk hard. Intoxicated Podcast is hosted and produced by Sarah McClellan, co-produced by Sarah Nicole, and brought to you by the messiness of life.
Oh, everybody's depressed. Next subject.